Hey guys, I've got all the blue foam down on the layout, so my plan tonight is to go ahead and with this liquid nails for projects, attach the foam to the masonite. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing. I'll go ahead and start this one little section here and show you how I do that. It's nothing, it's not rocket science. I'm just going to lift the foam up out of the way. Kind of do this one section at a time so I don't get anything out of order or mixed up. So I've seen different processes with attaching this down. A lot of guys will completely cover their substrate or sub-road bed with the adhesive. I basically just lay down a bead. In this case, it's fairly narrow, so I'm just going around the perimeter and then just drop the foam down and make sure that it's in place. And then press it down, make sure that it's where you want it, obviously. And I'm just going to start moving some of this stuff over onto this section to hold it down. But basically that's what I'm going to do is get it all laid down. So once I have it down, I'm going to come back and start laying out the track plan. So once I get to that point, I will definitely come back and show you how that's done with the trammel. So be back soon, guys. All right, guys. Sorry for the movement here, but I wanted to film the plan for a second. So what I'm going to do is start drawing the track center lines, and I've decided to start with this outside curve here for no other reason than it's going to be the hardest one to do. This one and also down here at this end. And the reason for that is because this part of the layout is up against a wall. So I can't use my trammel as is without a modification. So I'm going to show you what that modification has to be. All right, so hopefully this is going to be enough light for you to see. But here's the trammel, and you can see that 36 is up against the wall and it runs down to 22. So the radius on that curve is, I think by plan it's at 24. I'm going to try and make it a 26 if I can, just to kind of see where it fits. But the problem is that the pivot point for the trammel is back here. So the track plan has the center line of this main line that's against the wall 3 inches from the edge of the layout. So you can see what that is. That's a 33-inch radius, or in my instance it would be a 32 because my pivot point is at 1 inch. So in order to fix this, I'm going to have to move my pivot point from 1 inch up here into the center of the trammel. So what that will allow me to do is have the radius that I need so that I can come around this part of the layout and still make the swing to come back to the peninsula. So since I want this to be 26 here, right now it's sitting at 32. So I'm going to have to move my pivot point 6 inches up from the 1 inch mark. So I'm going to have to put it up here at 7. So that should allow me to have a 26-inch radius here in the corner. That's my theory. I'm going to test it out and we'll see what happens. So okay, so again, close up of the layout here. So as I said, right here, this main line is about 3 inches from the wall, And it also has to be about 3 inches from the wall over here to allow room to insert the turnout and service my propane facility, which is going to be back here in the corner. So what I need to do is mark 3 inches from the wall here, and also 3 inches from the edge of the table over here. And then I'm going to place my what will now be 33-inch hole, so that it intersects the 3-inch line here and the 3-inch line here. So I will get those marks in and then show you the setup and how the trammel. One advantage to having a garage layout is this wall is removable. So I just opened the door and came out here and placed a mark 3 inches from the edge of the layout. So what I'll do is I'll pin this leg at 18, and I've got, I don't know if you can see this one or not, but I've got that one also at 3 inches. So I'll pin that as well, and I'll put my pen in the 33-inch mark, and since I've moved this to 7, that should give me a 26-inch radius back here. So let's see how that works. Okay, so pen's in place, the trammel is pinned down. I'm going to try and record this. So the next thing you want to make sure of is that obviously when you're drawing a radius like this, you want to make sure that the 2 legs of your trammel are at a 90-degree angle. That is going to assure that when you draw the curve that it's going to be in the right spot. So again, I've got so what I was about to show you was drawing the line, but my the video filled up here. But that's the radius that was drawn. So I think it worked out pretty well. I hit my 3-inch mark right over here, and I'm right at my 3-inch mark over here, which is on right under this section. So that works out pretty well, moving the pivot point. I think this is how Derek's works. He's got holes drilled down here at the end, and he moves the pivot point where you know, this point here against the wall, and way down in the corner beyond the bridges is the other point where I'll have to use this. Everywhere else I can extend the trammel past the edge of the layout and use the pivot point back at number 1. So this should work out pretty well. I'm going to continue drawing the radius points around the curve. While I've got this one in here, I need to do another one that is 2 inches tighter than this. So I'm going to do that while I'm here, and be back soon. So while I've got the trammel positioned here, swing this layout around so you can, it's oriented to the same spot. I'm standing right here in this corner. So the radius that I drew first is this outside curve here, and it continues around and then eventually leads into what's an additional yard here over on this edge of the layout. So I'm going to bring both of those radiuses around, and I'll try and record this so you can see how it works. Alright, so picking up on the back side, I just swing the pivot point of the trammel around here. And I'm going to carry it across and stop it right in there somewhere. I can move my pen back down to my 24-inch radius and swing that around, going back the other way. So as you can see, it's a pretty neat little tool. When I did this on the other layout, I didn't have the nails. I didn't have the nails in here to keep the trammel positioned, and I was fighting with it sliding back and forth. But I kind of like the nails in there. It holds it pretty steady. Once you get those two locked in, you know, this other pivot point back here works as the third point in the triangle, so it doesn't move much at all. So I'm going to continue, as I said, drawing the outside radius curves, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so again, just to show you the flexibility of this tool, this curve here, the outside, is 26 inches, and the other side is set on 26 as well. So let's get a straight on shot there. So it's set on 26. What you can do with this is, since it's anchored at those 2 points, I can actually slide the pivot point back and forth. And what that lets me do is find out where the center of this previous line is that I drew, where the actual center point of my circle is. So what that does with the nails in there, keeps this on 26, keeps the other on 26. If I push this down, and then it lets me adjust where I want 26 to fall. So again, this end of the peninsula, I had to adjust a bit so that I had room to walk here. So the outside is 26 inches. That's where I'm going to put the outside edge of the roadbed. So I've got about a ½ an inch here at the corners. So what I'm going to do now is draw the next radius. So I'm going to come in probably to about, I don't know, maybe, I guess I'll bring it 2 inches in, and we'll see how that looks. And that, again, that will be the outside of the cork on the peninsula. All right, guys, so down here in the corner, this is right the approach to the bridge. I've got my radii drawn in here. So, and I've extended the straight sections, so this is where it'll hit the bridge, right in here. Come across the bridge, I've got a much wider area here, so these curves are pretty sweeping. If I could get back, I made a mistake. I got too close to the edge, so I drew some hash lines through this one, so I'll know not to use it. But anyway, I've got these two drawn here, and way down by the front of the layout, by the garage door, I had to adjust here. Again, I took a little bit of designer's license when I engineered this end of the layout. I made this opening here a little bit bigger so I could fit in it. So what that's going to do is it's going to bring this a little bit closer to the edge. So I'm going to have to go, you know, if I use this for the center line, my cork roadbed is going to be right on the corner. So I may use this as the outside mark here and here for those turns. It's going to put me a little bit closer to the edge of the layout here, but that's okay. It's really just going to be a painted backdrop in this area. And I've brought those curves around to start up the peninsula. So from here, there's, you know, a lot of straight track from these 2 points on either side of the peninsula. There's a divider, a view block that goes in here. So these tracks on this side will come up and eventually lead into my intermodal yard, which will stretch the whole way up the peninsula, and then it'll exit here with the curves around the outside of the peninsula. So I have those in now. This again will be the outside edge of the roadbed. I trimmed this up a bit so the fascia will fit a little bit nicer. So I think I'm about ready to call it a night. My next work session will be drawing the rest of the main line straight sections onto the foam board. So I want to do all of the main lines first, get them set, and then from that I'll decide where to put my turnouts and my you know, my sidings and so forth. But that's my my goal is to get all the main lines in first.